Welcome back to the Atlantic Hurricane Season Outlook. June 1st to November 30th is the pretty much the date for the end of the hurricane season and beginning. So a hyper hurricane season ahead of us, is it possible? And I'm going to be answering that question in today's video. All right, so how does the pattern could play a big part of the tracks this year? And this is by a model that I've gathered and from this awesome website, Tropical Tidbits, and we're looking where the greatest high pressures are. And if you cannot tell, in the main development region, the Caribbean, is where the pressures are negative more, but it's very restricted down there. So where the arrows, what I've gotten from the model is this is the potential way the pattern can be. A lot more landfalls than previous years and a very hyperactive season. You tell with the high pressure, the Bermuda High, very strong, and it's going to be a lot more in place this year. I do not expect that many storms to jump off Africa and go north right away. I think there's going to be a lot more impacts to the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Dominican, Cuba, the USA mainland, Mexico, even Cancun, Texas, even into Costa Rica areas is going to be a possible. I just don't think it'll be as far south as Costa Rica. If anything, one or two storms, or even down there near the Barbados. I think most of the storms this year is going to be a little bit more north to the Barbados, but we'll have to see. So that is just one model and why this is going to be a potential track going into the coming months. Now let's go to the chances of landfalls on my map. I did this in my last update. This is, by the way, my last update for the season, my latest numbers and everything. So please watch this carefully. So highest and lowest chances of landfall: New England, New York, the Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Maine, even New Jersey. You guys have a few landfalls possible, maybe the remnants of storms. I don't expect too much hurricanes, tropical storms to make landfall in that area. If so, maybe towards the early part and the late part. Then in the orange is where some potential landfalls are possible, where it's more of a likelihood. Definitely in the beginning of the season, we get some of those East Coast storms in the North Carolina area and Virginia. Then in the red is the highest chance of landfall expected, where we usually see our main, but I think this year it's going to be a lot more high of a chance than previous years. And then the highest potentials probabilities is going to be for the all of Florida, very southern Georgia, Louisiana, not the whole area of Louisiana, actually just New Orleans area, um, and then the Alabama, Mississippi southern parts. And I think those areas are going to be most impacted. But I did actually add another slide that we're going to get here in just a moment, is the chances for landfall actually in the Caribbean. So there's totally a lot more purple than red and the other colors, because usually if it's going to impact the mainland, it goes through these. But southern areas, I do have a yellow, probably the lowest chance for any landfalls. I did say that just a minute ago, like the Costa Rica area down here. I know we've seen some tropical cyclones in the last few years to move that south, but I think this year your chances are actually lower than normal for landfalls, because it's going to be a little bit more drier, and it's not. I don't think it's going to be as pulled down as an El Nino, if that makes sense. But then if we go to the orange, a decent chance for some landfalls. That is actually for just south of the Barbados. I maybe could have moved that a little bit more north, but I did not. That's even for these areas in Mexico. Then in the red is like the Barbados, the middle of the islands, the two just to the west of the Barbados. That is a very high chance for some landfalls, and even into some of these parts of the Mexico Islands. Um, I think up here definitely has a higher chance with some of these storms moving west into the Gulf of Mexico. Then for Cuba, Jamaica, Dominican, Haiti, Puerto Rico, the Northern Virgin Islands, all of the Bahamas, Florida Keys, Florida, you guys have an extreme high chance for many landfalls. A lot of landfalls are very possible. Now let's go on here. We're going to be taking a look at the actual ocean heat content. This is going to be one thing that's really driving this year. So we're going to be looking at the main busiest years: 2017, 2005, 2020, and 2024. 2005, remember, that was the second most historic names season, but it had a lot more landfalls. And look what that gave us. That was the ocean heat content. Near Jamaica, the Caribbean, anywhere from 100 about 125, but not really. Then we're going to actually go to the next slide. 2017. We had more ocean heat content in 2017, probably like the third or fourth busiest hurricane season on record. All right, we had Harvey, Irma, Maria, and remember, this is the ocean heat content. Then let's go to 2020, even more ocean heat content than usual. We have a lot more north, a lot more in the MDR, and this was the busiest hurricane season on record with names. Now, just wait for 2024. If you thought 2020 was bad, boom, 2024. Look at the difference. 2024 from 2020. Look how much more ocean heat content is in the picture. I mean, absolutely stunning for the ocean heat content. Even north into the New England area. That is extremely crazy, the ocean heat content differences. And this really going to set up the waters being so warm but so far deep. So we have many named storms, and it wouldn't change anything with the waters. Now let's go here to our next thing, La Nina. La Nina, and El Nino. Last year we were in El Nino. Pretty active season. We had about 20 named storms, 7 hurricanes, 3 major hurricanes, pretty much on average with the hurricanes and major hurricanes. More names. We had 20, usually the average about 13 to 14. So even El Nino from 2023 gave us a lot of names. But La Nina produces an upper level wind regime over the Atlantic that is relevantly conductive for storm development. La Nina increases the number of hurricanes that develop and allows stronger hurricanes to form. The chances for the continental U.S. and the Caribbean islands to experience a hurricane increase substantially during a La Nina and decrease during El Nino. All right, so these are the two images. This is the La Nina packs. So in the Caribbean, more hurricane activity and less wind shear. In Eastern, more wind shear, less hurricane activity, and then stronger trade winds, cooler waters, temps, and lower moisture content. Then on the NOAA Coral Reef Watch, this is the water temps and everything. And wow, look at that La Nina development in the negative threes and more. So this is another addition to why we think this is going to be a hyperactive season. Now let's go to the next side. Same thing with La Nina, but this is the Nino 3-point index is determines if we had a 0.5 below or 0.5 positive. Depends with El Nino or not. So positive means El Nino, negative means La Nina. And right now we're actually in a neutral phase here as of June 2nd, with it still moving lower. So from March 10th to now, this has been decreasing, and we have now in a neutral, still going down, expected to probably be down to a negative 1 to a negative 1.5 prediction, as you could tell in the forecast models, probably getting down to the negative 1 to the negative 1.5. So extremely strong La Nina is expected. So a lot more tropical activity than in El Nino. Next, say is the water temperatures. So this is the Gulf of Mexico, the water temperatures. So all of Gulf is in that 26 degrees above. In most spots, I say the whole waters are in 27 degrees above Celsius. So probably upper 80s. But if you get to the Cancun area, the Bay of Campeche, and then the Cuba area, the Bahama areas, and the Florida Keys areas, we're looking at about 30 degrees Celsius to even 32 degrees Celsius, especially south of Cuba. That is in the low 90s. So extremely significant and significantly not good. In the Gulf of Mexico, on an average, 1.125 Celsius above average. That is extremely, that's across the whole entire Gulf. That's extremely above average, probably the highest ever recorded for this time of year. Last time it got close to this was back on March 24th. So extremely significant. So now let's go to the Caribbean. Once again, very significant. Not the highest it has been, not since about March 24th, between April 7th, but still very above average, 0.791 above average. A little bit of a decrease. I do expect that to go back up, but pretty much all of the Caribbean about 28 degrees Celsius or above, especially in the northern part where we have a lot of 29s and 30 degrees Celsius above, and then near the Puerto Rican islands and near some of these islands where the waters are a little bit warmer. Where it's a little bit actually cooler is in South America, just on the coastline here with that 26, 27 degrees Celsius. And then once we go into these areas over here, about 30 degrees Celsius. So very warm waters on average. Then we go to the Atlantic MDR. This is the average. A bit of a decrease. Pretty big actually of a drop. Now increasing back up. It's at 0.705. Still way above average. That's across the whole MDR. So if we look here, look how far the 27 degrees Celsius line goes to, all the way almost up to the 40 line, where that's technically the North Atlantic, like the Antarctica area. So that's just very significant. We're already seeing some 26 degrees Celsius all the way up near New England area, just way off the coast though, north of Bermuda. Um, Then once again, as these waves continue and move this way, the waters just get warmer. I'm very worried about these waters here too. Very significant. Now let's take a look at another part of these water temperatures. It's the how much the waters are warmed by. So in the box I made, that's 3 to 5 degrees Celsius above average. That's about 8 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit above average than usual. So extremely significant. A bit more on the northern side. I think that will continue to spread southward, but very significant. You tell how these cooler waters are up here just a little bit. That's where actually our Bermuda high is. Usually it means cooler water. So you can already tell where the track is and everything could be setting up. But even in the MDR, you're looking at about 1 to 2 degrees above average across the whole entire MDR. So still very significant. Then we go into the water temps in the Caribbean, Gulf, the East Coast. In the box, I circle once again 3 to 5 degrees Celsius above average. That's 8 to 10 degrees. Whole Caribbean on average about 1 to 3 degrees Celsius, 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above average. Near some of these islands, maybe even up to 3 degrees Celsius above average. Whole entire Gulf, 1 to 3 degrees above Celsius average. So that's very significant. Now we go to the future moisture in the Atlantic, where this is another part, very moisture, very rich Atlantic waters are expected. These are in, up to July. So this is up to May, June, July. So this is into the next coming 2 months from now. I thought I actually had it for August and September. I guess I did not, but it only gets even more rich on this forecast model. These are actually two forecast models I have. So in the box is where the moisture is and probably where the tracks are going to be more. Um, Next model, very significant. This goes up to actually December. I didn't even mean to make it go to December because that's technically not Atlantic hurricane season. So do not worry about the last few frames. But if you look at the first 4 to 5 frames, yeah, very moist atmosphere across the whole entire hurricane Atlantic area where we usually see tropical activity. Probably up to even 6 to an 8 above average, especially in the Caribbean. So that's going to be very significant. Now we go into the signs. So we already are seeing some signs. This is the few models in the last few days. 18Z of yesterday night, GFS showed a potential tropical storm to a hurricane hitting Florida. Development from the dryer. Now we're getting to our dryer, our moisture in the Bay of Campeche, where we see a lot of spin and waves to move off that into the Gulf of Mexico. Usually we get a few names out of it, like Cristobal a few years ago. Um, that's one I really remember. Never actually became a strong storm. It was really sheared, but hit the New Orleans area with a lot of heavy rain as a tropical storm, like a 50 or 60 mile an hour tropical storm. Then this one actually shows a bit of a strong open wave though, slamming southern South America. So just shows you that there are signs waking up to the Atlantic hurricane season. Now let's go to the numbers that everyone's been waiting for. So NOAA's prediction is 17 to 25 names with 8 to 13 hurricanes, 4 to 7 major hurricanes. AccuWeather, 20 to 25 names, 8 to 12 hurricanes, 4 to 7 major hurricanes. So those two by itself, very close with each other, very, very significant. The Weather Channel, 25 names, 12 hurricanes, 6 major hurricanes. So even the Weather Channel, very aggressive, way above average, hyperactive season for all these three, especially NOAA. NOAA's actually, this year's was its highest prediction ever. So that was very significant. Penn State, 27 to 39 names, probably a little bit overdone, but that's the outlier. 12 to 18 hurricanes, 5 to 10 major hurricanes. And then the CSU, College State University, 23 names, 11 hurricanes, 5 major hurricanes. For now, my latest numbers, I did change some things, not too much. And let's get right into it. 26 to 30 names I am forecasting. That stays the same. Same thing with hurricanes. But major, I did up it just a bit. Uh, 11 to 16 hurricanes I do expect. And then 4 to 7 major hurricanes. I did have it about 3 to 6 major hurricanes. So I upped it 4 to 7. What I've seen with everyone's predictions and how the models are looking. Last year, like I said, 20 named storms, 7 hurricanes, 3 major. Average for the Hurricanes and major with the latest average, and then 20 names is about 7 named storms more. So, and that was with an El Nino, so pretty significant stuff to continue to watch. But that is my latest 2024 Atlantic hurricane season outlook. Please stay tuned to having every week updates. My next Atlantic hurricane season update probably sometime this week, and then every week will probably be a different day. But anywhere you can expect a video every 7 days. Maybe earlier than others, maybe later than others. With an update on the Atlantic hurricane season update outlook. So have a great night, you guys, and please spread this to other people that lives in the South, and please support, like, and subscribe if you want to see more. Have a great night, you guys.